Welcome back to CR Arthritis at the Canadian Rheumatology Association and Arthritis Health Professions Association annual scientific meeting. My name is Anita Chan, and I'm the Programs Director at Arthritis Consumer Experts. Today, I'm excited to be joined in the studio by Michael Kuluva. Michael, welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
Before we get started, I'm gonna give our audience a quick intro about you. So, Michael is an American fashion designer and founder of the New York fashion label Tumbler and Tipsy. He was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when he was 28. He made headlines when he brought his full video game inspired designs to the red carpet on New York Fashion Week in 2012. When he's not busy on the runway, Michael is a passionate advocate for rheumatoid arthritis and makes a point of including people with mobility challenges in his work. Michael, could you start by telling the audience a little bit about yourself and your journey as I know you were a former figure skater and a fashion designer while living with rheumatoid arthritis?
Yes, I was a professional figure skater for the United States. I toured with a lot of major shows like Disney on Ice and Holiday on Ice in Europe, and I was able to travel the world and see amazing cities. But at the same time, I was suffering from arthritis, and I thought it was just my body kind of shutting down and telling me to not skate as much. So I got off the road and I was able to go to fashion design school, and that's where I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And knowing that and going into this industry was a lot of pressure because you have to use your hands so much for cutting and sewing and drawing and just everything. So for me, I just had to really, really think how I was going to navigate this passion of mine and to figure out how I'm going to be able to do it for the longevity of it too, just not for the shortcomings, but for how long for the rest of my life, especially if I'm going to school for it. So I was able to definitely do that, and I was able to conquer it and able to go to New York Fashion Week right out of graduating from design school and made a huge splash my first season. And it was amazing. And we've been doing it now 14 years. And my last collection was under my own name, Michael Kuluva, which was so exciting to launch. So everything is, yeah, it was a really good story for me to not give up on my dreams, even though everything was kind of set against me.
That's really great. Congratulations on your Michael Kuluva label.
Thank you.
Um, so, in terms of the challenges that you mentioned, could you tell us a little bit more about how that may have affected your career as a fashion designer? Were there any pauses during your career where you kind of just sat back and be like, I need to take a break?
No, I never took a break. Um, that was probably one of my downfalls that you do have to learn, though, that you don't want flare-ups and that you do need to take breaks. But I really focused on my career and I actually kept it a secret for many years up until around 2016 when I partnered with Creaky Joints and GHLF to tell my story. There was a really big stigma 10 years ago about having arthritis, and people didn't have a community online and socially. There was very little information about younger people with arthritis and the support groups that were not there at the time. Now we have so much at our disposal. Everybody's connected worldwide. And I believe that it's just a different time now, and people have grown so much in their ability to accept people and to look at their diversities as something unique and authentic that can be used to their advantage if they, were able to accept them into their workplace.
And you mentioned Quickie Joints. Is that how you started on your patient advocacy journey?
It is. I always wanted to get involved. I just didn't feel that some of the associations or foundations were the right fit for me. So when I met with Creaky Joints and we kind of just really got along on what my vision was going to be because I saw so much negativity online about when I was Googling about arthritis when I was first diagnosed. This is what you're not supposed to do. Of course, you do it and you just find out all this horrible news. And back then, there wasn't any positive stories. And I really wanted my story to not be that negative story. And I think that really has helped me throughout my career to maintain and keep persevering and really keep the branding going because it is something that is not just me, it's something that is also a story for others to look upon and hopefully get some motivation and passion.
And we love this patient advocacy community because there's so many of you that are really active on social media. And I love it how there's so many of you from different backgrounds, different line of career field, and that's just provides a really wonderful inspiration to our audience and young people living with rheumatoid arthritis or any other inflammatory arthritis.
Or any disease really, like
Yeah.
anything. It's just amazing just to keep on going on with your dreams.
And I understand you just came back to Toronto from the CRA and AHPA annual scientific meeting. The workshop you co-presented with Dr. Mary DeVera, Anna Sampson, and Megan Thomas. It's on towards improving representation in rheumatology research. Could you tell us about your experience presenting this workshop as well as what representation means to you as a person who identifies as queer?
Yes, so the workshop was really important for me as we've been working on this research for years now, I feel. We really wanted to make sure that our voice is being heard and that there is a spot for everybody at the table. And I think this research really came together well. The workshop was so much fun. It was very interactive, which really was different. Usually you have a main speaker and then it kind of goes for an hour. So this one you're able to participate, you're able to divide up into groups and really go about more what you're passionate about and talking about and kind of strategizing different ideas together, which is just amazing to see how many intelligent and diverse people were there at that workshop and how many great ideas came out of it. I mean, it was just amazing. And to be part of it was just a very big honor for me. It was my first time at the CRA convention, and I didn't know what to expect, and it was really fun, and I was able to again see all the different patient advocates and work with these amazing people on this workshop.
That's great. And you said some of the great ideas that came out during the workshop. Can you share what some of those were?
Yeah, so we have a questionnaire that was just very broad that we were just kind of getting some feedback on. And just the one feedback that it stood out for me immediately was just it's too long. Like it's just too long and we have to group things a little bit smaller and that will make it a little bit more efficient and make people want to take this questionnaire, and actually want to do it. If they're too long, sometimes even me with arthritis trying to press a button with my finger all the time and stuff, it can be it can be painful just to take a questionnaire. So if you can kind of, make it a little bit easier and user friendly for everyone, I think that was a really big, takeaway from that is just to make it more user friendly and compatible.
At Arthritis Consumer Experts, we do some research study via we usually conduct surveys like you said, so it's good to hear that feedback about it being too long. It's a hard balance because you want to capture all the information that
Yeah.
will help you identify the diverse backgrounds, the diverse populations, yet sometimes the only way to do so is by incorporating more questions, and we kind of have to go, oh no, we need to keep this survey to like 20 questions max. So
Yeah. Or there, we were also discussing that I don't know, they can be a little too intrusive sometimes when they're a little too detailed as well. And you don't feel like you're going to want to answer those type of questions that detailed. And like one of them I think was we're talking about was income. Not everybody wants to put that in there, but it does represent a lot. And then there's other times where you have all that information, and what are you going to do with it specifically? Because then it narrows it down so specifically. So yeah, it was very interesting. And it was great that we were all able to work together, and so many different people from all over were coming together and working together.
That's great. And in terms of facing health inequities, do you have or have you faced any health inequities based on your gender identity?
Not that I can specifically like pinpoint. I've been very fortunate in the healthcare industry to have really good advocates and doctors and medical staff help me. I've never really experienced that, or not to my attention per se. Maybe it has been behind my back. I don't know. But for me alone, I've been very fortunate. So I just want to help more people because I know that there is inequities here. And with me, I just tried to be as authentic as I can as a patient advocate and as a person to be able to have that voice here and to do that research.
Or how can researchers best reach people in those diverse backgrounds and with the diverse populations?
That's a great question. We actually asked that yesterday at the workshop, and that was one of our other discussion tables. And it is very difficult. We were discussing this for days and months and how to really reach people. And there is ways of doing it, and we really do need the help of the rheumatologist and the family doctors. And we were thinking of, going to the senior centers and to long care living situations where people or aquatic centers where people or yoga centers where people have arthritis or known to have arthritis. But it's really hard to pinpoint it. And there's even certain cultures that don't want to talk about their inequities in health and or anything with their health that's personal. And that's a whole nother cultural barrier that we have to, go through. But I think getting as close to a patient as possible, it would be directly through the physician if we could.
I love your all the ideas that you suggested because they're thinking kind of outside the box, which is good because normal avenues would be through social media, targeted groups, and then sometimes you just can't reach everyone, or a feed on X or Instagram will pass by, and in the 1 million second that you're there, you miss it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for to be this diverse and to get the voices is what we really want, and we really want their input. And I think that it's still a discussion. It's an ongoing discussion. So if anybody does have any ideas, please let us know. We're definitely open. Yeah.
We will let you know via social media,
Yeah,
Michael.
that'd be great.
You can share your social media handles.
For sure. I'm at Michael Kuluva, Kuluva, on all platforms. So make sure to reply or DM me, and I will definitely take it all in. Thank you.
And the theme for this year's meeting is shared decision making. You sound like you had a good experience with your healthcare provider. Unfortunately, not all of us do. But from your good experience, could you tell us what shared decision making means to you and how you have built that relationship with your healthcare provider to ensure shared decision making is happening every step of the way?
Right. So again, I'm as authentic as I can be, especially with my doctor. I am my physicians and healthcare team. I let them know of everything and anything that's going on that needs to be looked at. And I think your communication is the key to all of it. And as long as you're communicating it directly and properly, you should get a really good outcome, unless the physician, for some reason, is not a good fit for you, which does happen. And but I think I always try to tell everyone, take notes, try to bring in a notepad of all your questions or put something on your phone. So when you talk to the doctor, you don't forget anything because I go in there and sometimes I just go blank and I'm like, oh, I meant to ask him all these questions. So just to have that paper or that text on your phone just to remind yourself of the questions that you do need to ask and that you want answered.
I love the tips that you share, Michael. Aside from those tips, do you have any other lifestyle hacks or tips you would like to share with our audience who may be either facing challenges or they want to get more involved in advocacy?
Sure. Yeah, like I love shoeless, laceless shoes. Like they you just slip right on. Like that's one of my favorite things. And there's so many great brands now that are doing laceless shoes that are a little bit more comfortable and they're also dressier for men and for women. And I think that's one of my lifestyle things is not to bother with laces anymore. Most of my shoes are very much slip on of some sort, or they're laced up, but they lace back together, which I think is really cool. And then on my website, michaelkuluva.com, I have necklaces that are a little bit longer and chains. I make sure that things are easy just to go over and take off. The clasps I just can't do with my hands. I don't really, I don't know. There's just so many like little things in life. I love my heat pads. I love, having a massage every now and then for my joints, especially when I have a flare up. And there's just like little things that I always seem to just find out or just keep doing that I know that helps me and drinking lots of water always.
Those are wonderful tips, Michael. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference at home. So you're safely home. So I don't have to wish you safe travels.
Thank
To
you.
to our audience, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again for our next interview. Bye bye for now.